And we are live. Good afternoon, or just about morning still, depending on where you are in the world. Happy Friday, whatever time of Friday it is. It's great to be here. I love these Friday sessions. We have such fun and lots of engagement and conversation, and hopefully some revelations and some stuff you can take away and actually implement into your life and business straight away. If you are here watching this live, give us a hello in the comments. I shall respond to the comments. And let's see if you've mastered the art of letting StreamYard display your name as well. If you're here, just say hi, Johnny, hello. Oh my goodness, it's a good morning from Oregon. That is almost as far away from the UK as you can be without being in Australia, isn't it? That's bloody miles away, that is. Over in the far west. Good to see you, Sarah. Always great to have you here. HJM's here as well, a little bit nearer home. Oh my goodness. Annabelle's in Marrakesh. What an exotic group we have here today. Oh my goodness. I would just love to go to Marrakesh. I really would. Sounds fantastic. Janine is here. That isn't a name I recognise. Or Janine. Great. Bridget is putting an IKEA build together at the same time. Do you know what? There's such a difficult thing to do that doing something else at the same time is remarkable. So you have my respect and admiration for that. Well done. Yes, we know you're in Wales, Bridget, as well. Jeff's here. We've seen you on these sessions before. Well done, Jeff. Absolutely brilliant. And lovely Caroline's here as well from Leafy, Surrey. Oh my goodness. Right, you're in California, also a Facebook user. You need to do one quick thing. Do one quick thing. Go to this place. See the banner that's on the bottom there? I know you're in California, but go to this place where it says streamyard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to display your Facebook name, and then we know who you are then. I don't really have an inkling who you are at all, actually. Can't remember. Oh my God, it's you. It's Mimi. It's Mimi from California. Okay. Yolanda, don't say only Jersey. Jersey is a fantastic place to be, isn't it? And Jersey is a beautiful island off the southern coast of England and also off the western coast of France, you could say as well. So Mimi's here. Yes, Caroline, Crystal Life Coach, we've been speaking to you this morning as well, haven't we? So just to emphasize the global nature of these sessions, Coralie's in Washington. That's Washington State up on the western seaboard, if you like. So we have a fantastic mix, an eclectic international mix, and it's so nice to have you here. Say hi when you join, by the way. Oh my God, talking about international. Gregor is in Guatemala. I did that because it's kind of south of America, isn't it? Guatemala, my goodness. Very much Central America, yeah. South of America, I didn't mean South America. Facebook user, we can see you now, but we don't know what name you are. Listen, never mind. Yeah, wrestle with this at your leisure, by the way, guys. streamyard.com/Facebook. I'm actually going to switch the banner to the topic for today. I've got a little anecdote, actually, which might serve as a warning, and you might laugh. You might have a laugh at my expense. When I promoted this session, I sent an email out to my community saying in the subject header, why you're doing your program wrong. Why you are doing your program wrong. Somebody who got that email took offense at it and actually sent me an email back to say, how dare you tell me I'm doing my program wrong? You don't know anything about me. Then, oh my God. I just went, okay. And I replied back in a slightly comical way. And she replied back further to say, I'm glad you find it funny. Some of us don't like being told we're doing things wrong. And I just went, okay, I'm out of it. Anyway, she's left my email list and left the community. So apologies if any of you even slightly felt butthurt by my expression that you might be doing your program wrong. I genuinely didn't mean any offence. I was meant to get your attention. Well, that's what I thought, Annabella, as well, because anybody who knows me knows I'm not here to cause offence in any way, shape or form. We've got somebody nearer to home here, JJ. I love being called JJ. I often wish I had a middle initial that began with a J, so I could be JJ as well. Gregory said, replying to us sound like a job for ChatGPT. Well, maybe. Do you know what? I actually don't. I actually don't reply to people who are offended. There's no point in going down that rabbit hole and kind of wrestling with that, because and thank you for supporting me. Love your titles, love your subjectives. Yeah. The person needs to do so many work, exactly, and said with love. When I read her first thing, I replied with love, and she didn't take it. I think the clue with all this stuff about offence, right, is the phrase we use, taking offence. Offence is taken, not given. You don't give offence. You never hear somebody saying, I gave him offence, unless you're building a fence and you can give somebody offence, right? But yeah, you don't give offence. Offence is taken, isn't it? And therefore, who am I to influence what somebody else takes from me? It's up to them, isn't it? So you don't have to worry about patting me on the back. I've got all this covered mentally. If offence is taken, it's taken, isn't it? So why you might be doing your program wrong. We're going to make a workshop here, by the way, so you guys better get used to tapping stuff on the keyboard, because I'm going to be wanting you to do that, and we'll talk about it and show the lovely stuff on the keyboard on the screen. So I did something in a post with a very smart guy called Ron in the group. I don't know if Ron's here. Are you here, Ron? Are you here, Ron? If you are, Ron, say hi. But Ron asked for some advice in the post about how to set up a program. And I'm going to share a screen on this because there are some criteria that I actually answered in the post. I've been very, very lazy. I've actually shared this, just copied and pasted this off Facebook, basically. So this is what it looks like. So if you can see that, here's some criteria for an ideal program. You can jot these down if you want, or I'll put them in the comments on the video later. But this is what I said to Ron about some of the things that you need to create in your program. This, by the way, isn't the workshop for today. There's 5 clear points that I'm going to ask you to talk about in the chat a little bit later. But you can see these, can't you? In my eyes, your program needs to solve a big, expensive problem, because if it doesn't, you can't create a big, expensive solution, can you? And if you're just tinkering around the edges of somebody's life and you're becoming entirely optional for them, and purchasing your program seems like a luxury, then they're less likely to buy it, aren't they? And you're less likely to get anything approaching a reasonable cost for it, a reasonable fee for it. So you need to think about, what is the big, expensive problem solving? You need to speak to their hopes and dreams, as well as to their problems. So solving a problem is only going to get them back to ground zero. Whereas, as we talked about this morning, Caroline Turnbull and I, when you speak to their hopes and dreams, you can move them into their glorious future. And it's sometimes a lot more fun actually doing that, isn't it? Next thing is that it has to be believable. We will touch on that shortly. You can't claim something which just seems outrageous that nobody's going to believe. Your program also needs to feel like a journey, in stages, in steps. We've built stages into the way we've structured the client attraction blueprint, the CAB, so people feel like they are on a journey, and they don't just feel like they literally are on a journey. But we need to offer a promise of some kind of tangible return on investment. That's how people, evaluate, is it worth me paying for this? What are they likely to get from it? It also has to look simple. That's one of my favorite words when I'm writing copy. I use the S word quite a lot, because if something looks and feels and sounds simple, people are more likely to buy it. We don't like complexity. We're not going to buy something that's ridiculously difficult. just on the same, along the same lines, you need to construct your program so you can talk about it easily. It's not difficult for you to put across. There needs to be some easily transferable concepts, in your program, which you can talk about and people can understand. It also helps if your program seems different. How many times are you in conversation with people who go, "Oh yeah, I've done that before." Well, I don't know whether you are, but we are a lot, because in our business, which is teaching you the fundamentals of marketing your expert business, there's a lot of other people at it. And oftentimes the people we're talking to will have been on other people's programs, and it hasn't worked. That's why we're talking to them, right? So we need to stress not only that we're better, that's quite a difficult nuance to describe, isn't it? But it's a lot easier to describe that how you're different. So think about how your program could be different to other things that people have tried. By the way, is it making sense? If you're liking what you're seeing and hearing here, just give us some yays in the comments, please. Just type a yay in the chat, and I'll feed off your energy. But this is making sense. If this little short list is making sense, give us a yay or a hell yes or something like that. By the way, if you just arrived, say yes, definitely. Say yes if you just arrived. I see that the attendees are rising in number. Give us a yay in the chat. So if it seems different, it helps, doesn't it? Now also, and we're going to workshop this as well, because I want your take on it, but social proof. This is how you explain that your program has worked for other people and look at the results they've got. Our very good friend Lisa K. Bonner was kind enough to post in the group yesterday about the effect that Cab 46 had on her when she was on the program. She described how deeply and richly it's changed her life in every single way. She's been able to leave her job and meet her ambition of buying a camper van, a motorhome, an RV, whatever you call it, and she's traveling the country in that, and she's living a life of abundant freedom, in every way. So, social proof. Let people know how your programs work for other people just like them. Affordability is a different concept, guys, to value for money. I want you to understand this. People will buy if something seems like value for money, as long as they can afford it. And we've got to be, clear, be honest with ourselves. Not everybody can afford what you're doing, right? And if every time you speak to someone, they're saying, "I can't afford it," then you've got an audience issue, haven't you? You're talking to the wrong people. But that is a different objection to it doesn't seem like value for money, because you'll get people who could afford it but won't if it doesn't seem like value for money. Does that make sense? Give us a yeah if that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to pop out of the screen and I'm going to set up the first little workshop. All right, the first little workshop. We're on StreamYard, hence why I signed off. I don't know what you mean, Elizabeth, but yeah. We are on StreamYard, but StreamYard is a tool that streams into, Facebook and LinkedIn and that kind of thing. So we've got some nice make senses and yep. Okay, great stuff. So the first little workshop, which I would like you to consider, is how are you different? How is your program different? So I'm going to put this in a banner. I'm just going to drop it in a banner right now. There are 5 of these, so we're going to whiz through these. But the first thing I would like you to consider, and it is a banner on the bottom of the screen right now. These are questions, by the way. These are framed as questions that your potential client is going to be asking themselves. Even if they don't ask you, these are the questions that they will need answering before they buy your program. So this gets to the heart of the session today, where I said you might be doing your program wrong. What I meant is you might be pitching it wrong, you might be positioning it wrong, you might even have constructed it wrong, who knows? So we need to answer the question, how is this different? So fingers on keyboards in the chat, how is your offer different from other things that your potential clients may have experienced or may have tried or may have seen? How is it different? Can you give us a few words about how what you do is different? So Coralie's great here. I can actually release people's pass. No, don't worry, Elizabeth. You are using this platform correctly. using it correctly. I thought you can't see it, right? No, you're using it correctly. Well done. So, how are you different, Annabella? Annabella says that she harnesses the power of mind as well as diet and lifestyle. You see, I think that's different. That's nice and different, isn't it? So it's not just a generic mindset play. It's understanding that your mind and body are inextricably intertwined. And if your diet is rubbish, your mind can't possibly function at its optimal, can it, Annabella? To address challenges in perimenopause. Brilliant. So I think that's nice. I think that is sufficiently different to answer this part of the challenge, if you like. So keep this coming, guys. Really think about this. How is your offer different to other things that your ideal client might be considering, might have available to them, or may indeed have already tried? How is your offer different to things that they might have tried? Jeff is giving us some powerful insights there. You need to niche down till you get to a unique offer. Yeah. Let's see what Caroline said. Probably isn't that different. Well, I take you to task here because I know you very well, Caroline. We've worked together for the last 3 months, and it bloody is different. It's very focused on clearing the past and setting the future, and it's done by me. But by the way, the answer, it's done by me or because I'm different, isn't an answer to how is this different. Because we're all different in ourselves, aren't we? That's not enough, is it? Just because you're a different person doesn't mean your offer's different. How is your offer different? Caroline, I just want to challenge you on this out of kindness, only to say, Caroline, that your approach is different because Caroline's a money mindset coach and she uses very specific techniques as well as a lot of experience to help business owners and people struggling to charge what they're worth with your work. So back to the drawing board on your answer to this question, Caroline. You are way, way, way better than that, and you are genuinely different. There's no doubt about it. HJM has got a life planning program that comes with a fantastic mind coaching tool in a box for every member to use at home. That sounds nice, doesn't it? So there's some points of difference there. We're going to touch on this. That was me for a coach. Yeah, again, as I said, that's not the right answer. Even though it's true, of course. Even though it's true. And Jeff says, be specific. Yeah, of course. So how is this different? We've had some play around with this, haven't we? Back to the tripod indeed. God love you. So how is this different? Is the first of, there are 5 of these, by the way, that we're going to play with. These are 5 things which you need to know that your client, your potential client, will be asking themselves. Right? And this is number 1. How is this different? So number 2, which you'll find intertwined with this one, and I'll explain what I mean as I put it up. I'm going to put this banner up. I should have loaded these banners beforehand, but I didn't. I just didn't. So number 2 is at the bottom of the screen now. They will be asking themselves, how do I know this works? All right? What evidence is that this might work? Okay. How do I know it works? Why should I? What evidence is that it works? Is it going to work? What are the odds of it working? That kind of thing. So this speaks to your social proof, doesn't it? This speaks to your ability to tell stories about other people who've used it and had it working. So what I want you to do now is, in the comments, I want you to type in a sentence or so, a description of what happened to your favourite client. What's the best outcome you ever had when you work with a client? Just tell one story. I know you got loads, but think about one of the best ones or one of the ones you like the most, where you can just go, huh, right? Tell us a favourite story about a client that's had a massive transformational impact from working with you. What's the biggest impact you've ever had with a client? Because telling stories like this and being able to tell stories at the drop of a hat is how your prospect is going to start to feel that it might work for them. All right, because if they don't feel that it's going to work, they're not going to buy it, are they? They can listen to you telling them about it and what's in it and that kind of thing. But they need some evidence. They need at least a couple of stories about work you've done with people like them to change their lives. So do this now. Tell us a story of, tell us a little story in a sentence about how it's worked for them. So Hillary's life planning program was a fantastic life coaching tool in the box from Mother King. So deleted my comment. Yeah, no, you didn't actually. It's still there. I don't think you can delete comments once they're there. Just as get clients to leave recommendations. Yeah, definitely. You know, I always talk about the difference between recommendations, testimonials, and case studies. And sometimes it's more powerful if you tell the story in all this glory in your own words in a post. Apart from anything else, more people will see it probably than somebody else posted it. But there's some real power in you telling this story, which is why I want you to just practice this. Practice your chops right now. By the way, if you just joined, welcome. We are streaming Thank Flip It's Friday live training, and the topic today is why you might be doing your program wrong or pitching it wrong and that kind of thing. So we're playing around with some of the questions, and we've picked 5 questions that your prospect will be asking themselves whilst they're listening to your program. Okay. And the second of the 5 questions is, how do I know it works? So yeah, recommendations kind of help. There's no doubt about it. We've got a nice one here. So a client was able to heal her injuries she suffered with for over a year when she changed her mind about hating her healthcare workers. Wow, that's just great, isn't it? Because there's 2 things that might not be automatically connected in people's minds. Who knew that? If you could get into somebody's head and stop them hating the healthcare workers, then you heal your own injuries. Fantastic, isn't it? Gregory's client switched up his offering and raised his prices, made enough so his wife could quit a teacher job. I've had that too. That's brilliant, isn't it? I've had that too many times. Spouses who are supporting our coach or therapy clients were able to leave their job and work full time in the business. It's great when that happens, isn't it? Well done. That's a good story. Elizabeth's client realised that the creative habits she had to shelve after having a baby could still be part of her life. Now, in an adjusted manner, that worked around the new life. Yeah, and Elizabeth, you know, what a story like that needs is a very powerful outcome, you know, a benefit, if you like. So just continue that to say, so that she could, because what we haven't heard from that yet is how literally her life was changed. You know, what the physical change in her life, what did she do different? How was her day-to-day experience of life different? Oh, there's some great ones there. You guys are going crazy. So Jeff helped a lady overcome migraine she'd had for 30 years. Wonderful, well done. 47, lost 50 pounds. Oh my God, left her job. I actually know about this story, Annabelle. You've told me this before. It's a wonderful story, isn't it? She's met someone, getting married next year. She's got a sexy back. But by the way, before we lose these comments, copy and paste them, put them into a folder somewhere, your own folder. Obviously, don't copy other people's, because you want to be telling these stories. These are essential. The question that's scrolling along the bottom here, how do I know it works? Can you imagine if the people you talk to see stories like this, they are going to realize that it works, aren't they? Telling stories is the winner. They were like me then. They realized it was a thing to plan their life till they tried it. Now they say they have a purpose. Coralie, ready to break up. She was so codependent. Oh, he took it. She was telling him he was wrong. But they're now 2 years happily married. Boom, Coralie. Boom, 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 boom. Caroline had a client go through a painful divorce, thinking she could afford to get out of the marriage to leaving on a beautiful house. Oh my God. Yeah. It's fantastic, isn't it? So all these are very rich, deep stories. And by the way, if any of these reading these have convinced you want to work with the person who wrote it, then reach out to them. Let's do some business with each other. If you see yourself in any of these problems, reach out to the people. This is completely covered my face. JJ says, client felt trapped in her life as an accountant, struggled with boundaries. Terrified of the thought of singing in public, even though she loved it. Yeah. Wow, not even a kid knew she could sing or play guitar. How sad is that? She's now a singer-songwriter, does live gigs. Oh, I am totally behind this. This is just fantastic. Lives on a boat with a new fella. Look, copy that story, JJ, before you lose it, because that is a post, isn't it? If you're not telling that story in a post, you really, really should do. Um, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Uh, Thoroughly research proven model of well-being. Okay, yeah. Fantastic. You told the story, didn't you? So her new life could feel more fulfilled and enriched. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think it was Caroline Turnbull and I said, she said today that she experienced every kind of freedom that she ever wanted. I just love that as an idea. Jeff Brown helped a gentleman, not just any bloke, but a gentleman who'd been self-sabotaging his work by being a perfectionist. Yeah, overthinking. These are all good for a new book called Jonny Yates Testimonials. Yeah, there you go. Well, look, I think we've got the message. If your client at the point when you're talking about your program is thinking, I don't know how it works, and they will be, even if they don't ask you that question, that is a latent objection in their mind, a potential objection that's going to come out at some point. Make sure you're telling them stories about how it's worked for other people like them. Is that making sense before we go on to the next one? Before we go on to the next one, is that making sense? You're going to love this next one. This is fun. Just drop a yay in the comments if it's making sense. I'm just going to do a new banner for the third out of 5. I'm really enjoying this. I hope you guys are. Do stick around. Don't leave, because this is all going to be good. So this is the third one. By the way, that's the first one. How is this different? You've all done really well with that. Second one was, I don't know how it works. The third one is, why should I trust you? Why should I trust you? Now, a lot of us just wing it because I think, we're capable in a way of coming over nice and trustworthy, aren't we? I think there's various components to trust. One is, do they like you? Are you generally amenable, and do you come over well? And I think that's fairly easy for most of us, isn't it? We're not nasty, aggressive people. We wouldn't be doing this job if we were. But another part of trust is, where are you coming from? What's your experience in all this? I sometimes call it provenance. What provenance is? Provenance is, what happened before that sets the status of what's happening now. The provenance of an object, of an antique, was it signed by the person who made it or painted it or whatever? Has it got a stamp on the bottom? What's your stamp on the bottom? What's your level of status? How have you achieved this? So, fingers on keyboards, tell us in a sentence or so, why should we trust you? Why should we trust you? And this is separate from the offer, because they're not even going to listen to the offer if they don't trust the person delivering it, right? So why should we trust you? Tell us that about yourself in a sentence, just a few words. Why should we trust you? What's your provenance? What's your backstory? What's your experience? Maybe even this is the time to chuck a qualification out there. As you know, I'm not big on qualifications as the be all and end all, but what have you studied? Where do you come from? Who are you to tell us this stuff? Because those are the questions that people are going to be framing in their own minds when they're talking to you. And they might not even ask you. They certainly won't say, why should I trust you? That's a bit rude, isn't it? But they're going to be thinking that kind of thing. So tell us in a sentence, what is it that makes you trustable in all this? Why should we believe it? Did it for myself. Yeah, that's a good one as well, isn't it? That is good, definitely. So, Hillary, this is really important. So, your trust anchors, as you might call them, I just made that up, write that down if you like it. Your trust anchors should be all over your social, shouldn't they? In your banners, in your headlines. There's subtleties in trust by your profile picture, right? If your profile picture is you doing a star jump off a boat with your swim trunks on or something, people might think you're a maniac, or or it might draw them to you, who knows? But make sure that every little bit of how you show up represents the level of trust and persona that you want to put across. So Hillary says, look at your social media. Person has experience, who cares? Qualifications. But you're right, people are not so bothered about that. People are not so bothered about that. Certified life coach. So that helps a bit. People are not so bothered about that. Mental health first aider, work through personal trauma and burnout. Yeah, I think trust as well can come from showing yourself as a 3D human, and we're all capable of doing that, aren't we, on social media? I'll touch on something now which is a really important bit. There's not two parts to you, your business part and your personal part, right? My business profile, my personal profile. Facebook might have confused you there by allowing you to have a business page and a personal profile. We say the opposite. We say that, look, you're a personal brand. People are going to engage with you and buy your stuff if they like you and they think you're an expert and all the rest of the bits and pieces, right? It doesn't separate your two lives. It's intertwined, right? So use your personal profile to demonstrate a few business chops and show yourself as a 3D human on there. People will trust you if they can see. And this is what triggered this little rant. Elizabeth said, enjoying a more balanced, sustainable lifestyle, the priority as well be. So if they can see you, Elizabeth, enjoying life, what is it? Climbing mountains, swimming in the ocean, sitting on the beach, doing all the stuff that they want to do themselves, then yeah, absolutely, they're going to trust you more automatically, aren't they? 6 years trained by high-profile trainer with all the A-listers, brilliant. Practicing for 30 years, track record of clients. Yeah, do not keep that track record in a box. Tell stories about all those breakthroughs. They don't have to be testimonials. Case studies with you telling the stories are a fantastic way to do this. By the way, our viewers are peaking, our viewer numbers. So if you've just joined, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are talking today in this Thankfully It's Friday live training about why you might be doing your program less than optimally, why you might not be pitching your program well. And we've picked 5 questions which your ideal clients are going to be asking themselves when they're listening to you pitching your program. First one is, how is this different? Second one was, how do I know it works? We're into the third one now, which is, why should I trust you? And Facebook users said, without that program, I wouldn't be here doing life coaching. I would have crumbled. Yeah, so, telling stories about it. 6 years in business. Well, lovely. Been featured. Oh, we love this. Good Housekeeping, Forbes, and The Guardian. They're all great names, aren't they? So brilliant. Make sure that you mention that. What people do, by the way, if they've been PR'd, if they're like say you've been in The Guardian, every now and again he'll do a post that just says, when I was interviewed by The Guardian back in 2019, they asked me about this, and tell a little story about it. You don't want to just put links to your Guardian because nobody's going to read that, but leverage it, by the way, and take a picture of the headline. That kind of. You do longevity, you don't look almost 80. Both very true. Yeah. Acupuncture practice. I would say that I have a licentiate in acupuncture. My local council has vetted me. Fantastic. Vetted by the local council. Showing yourself a 3D human. Yeah, exactly. Because just doing business all the time is boring as hell, isn't it? I wouldn't feel drawn towards a practitioner teaching me anything I wanted to know, who was just slamming business in my face all the time. I want to know about their family, their lives. Because here's the thing, why this is important is that, generally speaking, there's some exceptions to this, we're going to be drawn towards working with someone as a mentor or coach if they're already living the life that we would like to live. How about that? If they're already living the life that we aspire to, if they're already in some ways the person that we would like to be, we're much more likely to move towards and want to work with them and give them some of our children's inheritance, some of our hard-earned money, aren't we? So that's such an important aspect, I think. Lifting the curtain. Yeah, being certified is that. So there should be a concurrence. Jeff, this is a really good point. Therapists who are in pieces, therapists who are basket cases, we don't want to work with them, do we? Why would we? Yeah, physician heal thyself, as we say. Money coaches who are broke. That just doesn't add up, does it? Doesn't make any sense. You'd better be able to demonstrate that you're living a flourishing life if you're going to be advising other people on how to make money for themselves. So, what can I tell you? Generally speaking, personal trainers don't have beer guts, do they? For example, mine doesn't. I'd be quite disturbed if she did. My personal trainer doesn't have a beer gut. You want to tell your story about experience of overwhelm and fear? I've been there. Interesting, Chloe. Yeah, you broke through this fear with a sacred process and wrote a best-selling memoir. You did. I love that. Starting a movement in the world. Chloe, let's hear it for Chloe. Your story is utterly remarkable and no doubt unique. Hey, Nadine's here. Great to see you, Nadine. Facebook user been on stage with Mary Morrissey 3 times. Sounds good, isn't it? Interesting. Rapport is good for building trust. Yeah. Mo. I do not. Don't know what that means. I do not what. I'm like a stick of rock, says Caroline. Client sense of trust and belief that goes right through. Yeah, isn't that nice? Yeah. Domestic engagement on the post. Oh, beer cup. I do love beer. Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you answered the question, why should I trust you? And most I do not. I was getting a little bit alarmed then for a minute. Most engagement I had a recent post with a picture of my mother turning 95. Yeah, beautiful. That's Mimi, isn't it? I know Mimi, yeah. Yeah, when my dad sadly passed, I didn't do this for engagement. I felt I was honouring him because he was so bloody ancient. He was 95. He died in 2017. So he was born in 1921. And all through his life, this is an absolute blessing. He took pictures and his family took pictures from the 1930s onwards. And after he died, my wife scanned as a labour of love over 5,000 pictures, actually, I don't know what you call them, celluloid pictures from his life. And I posted a bunch of them, after he died, kind of memorial. It was fantastic. People just loved seeing them, and I loved seeing them. It was quite cathartic, I thought. So yeah, pictures of your family and loved ones who've passed. Why not? Right. Okay. Fantastic. So that's the third. Let me just reprise, and we'll do the final 2. You guys are doing so well, by the way. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being here today. Don't go, because these are the 3. So the topic is, if you've arrived slightly late, why you might be doing your program wrong. And the 5 questions that I want you to answer on behalf of your prospects, these are people that you're pitching to, are, number 1, how is this different? So we're doing some good work on that in the chat. If you want to catch up on it afterwards, by the way, and this chat will be, in the group of the video. How is it different? How do I know it works? They're going to ask. Why should I trust you? You've all come up with some good answers to that. Now, they're also going to be curious about this. And this is almost the be-all and end-all, you might say, isn't it? I'm going to just post this next banner for you. The 4th question out of 5 that they're going to be curious about is, how does it work? How does it work? The reason I want you to think about this now, and fingers on keyboards, I'm going to prime you to actually answer this in a useful way. The reason this is so important is they might not ask this. They might be shy to ask it. Just picture yourself. Let's get into the mindset that you're on a call. You're talking to your program. You're talking to someone about your program, and you're explaining it as best you can. If they don't understand that or understand any part of it, they might be too shy to ask. They might feel stupid to ask. Okay, but ask it. They will be doing, because one of the immutable truths of a sales process is that a confused mind never buys. Write that down if you're not aware of that already. I haven't heard it before. A confused mind never buys. But what they'll do when they get to the end, they'll disguise their confusion in other ways. They'll tell you they want to think about it. Yeah, they'll tell you they need 24 hours. They need to mull it over. Right? they'll make some platitude around it to make you feel better. Oftentimes, they're not going to say, how does it work? So we've got to be really, really clear on the essence of how a program works, but on the detail. You're not going to be able to write all this in the chat. I'm not going to get you to do it. But you need to be really clear stage by stage on how it works. And therefore, it's good to have a nice single pager that we develop with our coaches and therapists in the CAB program. It's a single page where you go through stage by stage and you itemize it, you lay it all out in writing so you can then talk about it. But what I want you to do today for the essence of this is give us a one-liner. Give us a one-liner about how your program works. Describe the journey from the start to the end in one sentence. Build me that bridge, the bridge between where they are today and where they want to get to. This is the answer to how does your program work? Right? What does it do? What does it do? Right? Fingers on keyboards. Write that in one sentence if you can. Obviously, this isn't the sales call. So in the sales call, you're going to be going into more depth, stage by stage, level by level into how it works. But give me an overview. If I said to you, I've heard about this new program, how does it work? What would you be saying to me? What would you be saying to me about your work, your offer? And just do that. Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to share a few more messages. I live my message, says Mo. That is a really good way to do it. That's amazing, says Jonny. Okay, Coralie's very, very fast on the keyboard here. Her offer works a simple trademark process called personal empowerment process that changes past negative, even subconscious thinking. Yeah. So this is a slightly trickier one, isn't it? By understanding and owning how you got there, you can change your behavior or change the result. That's a nice explanation, isn't it? How does it work? How does it work? What does it do? Gregory's probably said what some of you are thinking, right? Because this is a tougher assignment for you, isn't it? This is a tougher thing for you to answer. What would be an example of how does it work? Well, I would say on the CAB, how that works is that we gather together 4 people all on the same journey together, 4 coaches and therapists, all at the point where they want to change their expertise into a business. They want to turn their expertise into a real business. And we take them on a guided journey over 12 weeks. We'll put all the jigsaw pieces together so you can make a complete business. We deliver a business in a box, build it from the inside out over 12 weeks. So that's kind of how it works. Then we're going to go into detail. We're going to describe the 12 stages. So give us an overview if you can. Doesn't matter if this is not on the tip of your tongue at the moment. We've got some interesting things here. So Hillary says we investigate values and purpose, and we set intentions around them. Plan simple action steps. That sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds digestible. Sounds digestible. Jeff's telling us that anchoring works by stimulus response, like the example of Pavlov's dogs who rang a bell and the dog salivated. Yeah. Like that. And we've got here, this might be Mimi, I think. A process of reframing thoughts and living into your dream. You work with the quantum field to transform results in your life. Greg says a good example, but a long sentence. Yeah, I didn't say it had to be a short sentence, really. If you want a short sentence to how it works, I would say it works. It works because we deliver not just training, but we deliver action. We make you do it. So that's how it works. Over 12 weeks, you'll be taking action as well as just learning stuff. Is that a better one, Gregory? So on the CAB, we'll insist that you build your business here and now. We won't be showing you how to do it. We'll be making you do it. Hopefully that's a bit better. Okay, Annabella, establish and address the root cause of your issues and change limiting beliefs at the subconscious level. It's important because they're part of your mind. You see, what Annabella's doing here, consciously or subconsciously, is explaining in simple words. Yeah. And there's a great lesson here because you see that S word, subconscious. Most people have heard of it. Some people can't spell it, but we kind of know what the subconscious is. But isn't it nice to see that sentence in almost child's language? The subconscious is important because it's the part of your mind that's driving unhelpful behaviours. These words need to be said, folks. And I think the lesson that we've learned from Annabella's statement here, thank you, Annabella, is that you can never explain things too simply, right? Nobody's going to say, oh, that was too simple. Can you explain it in more difficult words? Nobody's going to say that. What they're going to do is they're going to back away and not buy it because you haven't explained it in a simple way. Does that make sense? If you like that, give us a yay. Nikki, over 12 weeks, will find where you give your power away, then take it back. There's some awesome processes. Love a life. Some of these are quite long, I know. Reflect and identify lives it looks now, based around the friend of 5 ways. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? Providing resources, holding community for members. That's lovely, Elizabeth. I mean, I'd be there, you know. Oh, you posted it twice. That was so good you posted it twice. Gregory's having a go now. The Millionaire MBA is a monthly membership that guides business owners to review plans, set goals, grow the business and sell for millions. It certainly is. Jeff is also supporting the client process. Yeah. Too wordy at the moment. Well, it kind of isn't it? Depending on how you're delivering it. You know, if you're sitting with someone and you're in a conversation, then that's fine, Elizabeth. That's not too long at all, is it? You magnetize your audience. That's a great word, isn't it? Draw people to you through compelling storytelling. Become the sovereign storyteller of your life's mission. It's tremendous. I love that. You guys are getting good at writing, aren't you? You're getting good at writing words. Through weekly group calls, business owners learn from us and experience of others. Right, okay. All right, so the next question is, and the final question in actual fact, just pop this in as a banner. Okay, so here's the banner. Oh, let me just get rid of that last comment. Oh, there's one from Mo. Let's do this. Says, over a 6-week journey, I take people from being frustrated and confused about losing weight, living a healthy lifestyle through a process of simple steps. They're just confident in their choices, eating practice, and a new lease on life. Want to be healthy daily. Yay! That is fantastic. Love it. Yeah, good one, Mo. So let me just recap where we're at so far. So I started off by saying you might be doing your program wrong. I don't mean your entire program is wrong. I just mean you might be pitching it not quite optimally, and you know, people might be slipping through your fingers. Money might be slipping through your fingers. As we say, you might be leaving money on the table, and we don't want to do that, do we? So the questions your ideal clients are going to be asking, 5 of the main ones. How is this different? How do I know it works? Why should I trust you? Which is a different but related question to how do I know it works? How does it work? You've all been quite good at explaining that. So is the next one and the final one. I've put this in as a little cheeky one because it occurs to me, and it's obvious to me, that some people in the community are not so good at getting people over the line, getting them enrolled. Okay, so I'm just going to talk very quickly about an enrollment process, the kind of, you know, the final stage in the enrollment process before they become a client. So I want you to know this, that this isn't about closing a deal. Okay, it's not about closing a deal. That's a horrible framing and it's disingenuous to your client, because closing a deal suggests a one-way transaction where the aim of the game is for you to get paid. Okay, it's not that, is it? It's very much a two-way. And when a client joins your program and they pay you, you both win. So it's a game with 2 winners. Yeah, it's a game with 2 winners. So get that in your head, and then you will be you'll be a lot better able to get paid and get paid. You should. So when a client says, "How can I get started?" And you give them the price, and they're happy with it. The very next thing is to get paid. To ask them what card they want to use, and the precursor to that, in order for you to be able to do that on a call, is to have a payment platform set up. I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here largely, but those of you who do not have a payment platform set up are completely shooting yourself in the foot, because what you happen to do then is send an invoice to someone or get paid by bank transfer or something like that, which just puts another step in the chain. It adds friction to the sales process, as we would say. So what I want you to do is make sure you've got an account set up with something like Stripe. I know Yolanda won't be able to do that because Stripe doesn't work in Jersey, which is a bit of bad luck. But for all the rest of you, generally speaking, you've got access to Stripe. Stripe is a payment platform that enables you to take credit and debit card payments, and it's an absolutely essential part, of a business in the 21st century that wants to function online and wants to get paid. So the answer to that question, how do I get started, has to be brilliant. What card do you want to use? We'll get you registered. We get you set up on the platform. Let's just get some comments from you to what do you tend to do when a client says, how do you get started? How can I get started? What's your next question, or your answer to that question? So when a client says, how can I get started? Just type in the comments. What do you do? What's your process from there? What do you tend to do from there? Spill the beans. Tell us what you do next. Tell us what you do next when a client says, sounds good, how do I get started? What's the next bit in your process? Just type in the chat here. Give us some insights. I'm kind of happy with that, Mimi. I mean, that's what I was saying, wasn't it? What card would you like to use? That's a nice, honest answer. Panic about scheduling. Yeah. Okay. Professor getting booked in, sending the documents and payment link. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, look, it's not that doesn't work. Clearly, it works for you, Annabella, because you've been doing it for a bit. But I just want to explain to you that the easy way to do this is what Mimi said. We've shown Mimi how to do this, and Mimi does it. But I just kind of think there's an easy way and a hard way to do this stuff, and you owe it to yourself to do it in the easiest possible way, don't you? That's the bottom line, I think. So the other thing I wanted to mention is, after you've done this, how you've got the credit card payment, is to tell them what happens next. There has to be a next stage, doesn't there? You can't just take the money and run. So be very, very clear that you then have a process, the induction process, if you like. What we do in our process is we set up an induction call. We send them 2 emails, because when you join the CAB, you join the Academy as well as joining the Client Attraction Blueprint program. So you have a welcome email that our system sends out. And there's links to click in there. And on the call, I'll be saying, when you get it, click this link, click that link, do this, do that. And it kind of walks them to the door, it fills in any quiet space that you might have between the point where they've registered and signed up and paid and the point where you actually get started on the program. So it's really important, I think, to kind of walk them to the door, if you like, fill in that blank space so they know what they're doing. Hillary's got a good one here. Email and confirmation, get them to do something immediately if we're going to start here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. JJ's got this nailed. Here's a payment link in the chat. While you're completing that, I'll bring up an onboarding form. That's beautiful, isn't it? That's absolutely perfect. JJ, you've got this nailed. So what JJ is saying here is that she would have a payment link hooked up to Stripe, I would imagine. And you put that in the chat, in the Zoom chat, while you're talking. And then you say to them, look, while you're completing that, isn't that a lovely phrase? Because you're not saying, could you complete that? You're saying, while you're completing that, I'll bring up an onboarding form, take a few details. And, they're in then. They're 100% in, aren't they? They're in JJ's world at this point, because not only have they paid, but they've done something else as well. They've registered, they've filled in a few forms, coaching agreement. That's absolutely perfect, that. If the rest of you want to copy that comment, I'm sure JJ won't mind, because that's what you ought to be doing. That is what you ought to be doing. Email and confirmation, give them to do, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So after payment, send up an email and a kit. Yeah, a calendar of the course days. Isn't that great? Yeah, we do that in the CAB as well. Yeah, very cool, says Caroline. I'm sure JJ won't mind. In fact, she's given you all permission just to copy that little statement. There's nothing private in that. It's just a best practice, it's best practice. Chloe says, get the current, send the enrollment link. Never have issues with people paying after the call. Yeah, and you probably never will. So look, this isn't about catching them while they're keen. Right? It's not. You're not doing it for that cynical reason that they might not pay you if you let them off the hook. This is not what we're saying. But what JJ does and what we do in getting paid on the call, it does two things. Firstly, it gets the money conversation out of the way, so you never have to talk about money again. And secondly, connected with that, it then enables you to talk purely about the work you're going to do together, doesn't it? It gets you into working together straight away. It removes all the friction out of it. Because, with the best will in the world, Chloe, I'm sure you've had instances where, yes, they've paid, but maybe you've had to send them a message just to say, oh, did you get the link? Have you paid yet? Have you got, And it's just extra work for you, and it's extra hassle in your relationship, isn't it? Because we don't want to be chasing people for money. We don't want to ask them to pay us more than once. We want them to say, look, this is how much it costs, what card you want to use. And as JJ says, I'll pop the payment link in the Zoom chat. Whilst you're completing that, I'll get the onboarding form prepared. And it's just a frictionless way to do it. And it feels more professional. Yeah, it makes you, it gives you a little bit of status, doesn't it? And as Chloe said, I'm just on board with less work. That's the thing. So JJ has very kindly popped that up again for Caroline. Here's a payment link in the chat. While you're completing that, I'll bring up an onboarding form. I'll take a few details from you to include in the coaching agreement. And that's the answer to the question, how can I get started? That is just brilliant, isn't it? What a fantastic session we've had today. We really, really have. We're not done yet. I want to show you something which I think you'll like. Some of you are aware of this. Some of you are not. I'm just going to change the banner to something else. If you can access a browser, just open that link. It's bit.ly/SCA23. I'm actually going to pop a clickable link into the chat. I'm going to invite you to do something which, if you haven't done it yet, you might want to. You might want to consider it at least. And I'm just going to pull the live link up so I can put it in the chat. It is called, yeah, there it is. So I'm going to put this in the chat now in the comments. So before you all head off to your Easter weekend, by the way, happy Easter, I should say. There's a link scrolling across the bottom. So if you want to type it in, bit.ly/SCA-23. There's also a clickable version of it if you're lazy, you don't want to type. It should be in the chat here in a couple of places. SCA-23, bit.ly/. When you click on that, you will open up a page which talks to you about the Social Cocoon Academy. And that is a very simple little program which I have set up, which is very low cost. I've just realized I've got to actually do something now. I've got to untangle the link. Hold that link. Well, no, actually, you've got a link to that page. That is the Social Cocoon Academy. And this is a very, very low cost one-off course that you can download and access at your own pace. And what it does, it gives you an end-to-end process for setting up a Facebook group and optimizing a Facebook group and getting the most you can from a Facebook group. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to edit a page because I'm a bit stupid, but there is a countdown timer. There's a countdown timer that's actually expired because we pulled this off sale a couple of weeks ago. But I'm actually just going to reinvigorate the countdown timer on the page. So don't go away because I want you to be able to see where it goes from there. So I'm actually going to edit the countdown timer on that page. And there you go, edit style. So thankfully, I have access to this. So I'm gonna actually open it for another couple of days. I'm going to open it till the end of the weekend, and I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to publish it live. So when you click on that link now, it will actually take you to a page that makes any bloody sense at all. Hopefully, to the 9th of April, yeah, it should do. So if you're already on that page, just click that link, and what it will do, it will take you to a page with a countdown timer on it. That actually makes sense. I'm going to actually share the page so I can go through it with you just momentarily. Yeah, so Carter is just saving page contents. I'll tell you what, we'll wrap up for today. What I want to show you is that we've got a Social Cocoon Academy, which is a very, very simple 3-stage process. So you can build your own Facebook group. And building your own Facebook group, as you probably know, is a really good idea in our community. In fact, it's our Facebook group is the beating heart of our business, and it's just a fantastic thing for you guys to do, and I want you all to do it if you can. So take a look at that link, bit.ly/SCA23. It will take you to this page, and once Carter has decided to actually display the countdown timer properly, you'll be able to click on a link, on a joining link. It's $397. That is all. You can actually pay in 3 goes. In fact, $133 per month, and it gives you a whole bunch of downloadable content to use, and also a 3-stage video course. And this will get your Facebook group set up. It will get your Facebook group firing on all cylinders. So there is the link to it. I just want to check that Carter is saving it, and then you'll have access to that page. It kind of works. All right, brilliant. So I think we should be good to go. I've got to go because I've got a client call shortly, and I hope you've enjoyed that session today. It's been brilliant. If you've enjoyed it, just drop a yeah in the comments, and we'll see you all very, very soon.